Hello everyone, this is JPL and today I'm joined with
Christopher.
yes, and we have podcast
Podcast
name
name in
Brackets.
brackets.
Yes. Anyway, how are you doing today, Christopher?
I don't know. How are you doing? That doesn't
Uh,
sound good right now.
no, I'm doing fine. I'm
Oh,
just
you're doing fine?
yeah, I'm doing
You
fine. Just doing something different, just sound different, just to get that thing going.
Okay.
But
I
you're doing
still
good.
I still hope you're doing better than whatever you're doing right now.
I mean, yes. Sure. Yeah, that's how it goes. Life
Oh, okay.
better. Good fun stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. What is there to talk about?
Yeah, there wasn't much news that happened in the past few weeks. Like things are still on strike, and so there's
Yeah.
really not much in terms of movie news. We got a trailer for the new Aquaman movie.
How was that?
Um, I just looks basic,
Hmm.
but there's there's a character that's just not at all in the trailer, and of course it's Amber Heard's character,
Oh,
and I'm
she's
like,
not.
she's like in one frame. The entire trailer, which is so disappointing because she has a really good character.
Right.
It's a shame that like they're just cutting that character out because of the darn actress.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Just
It
recast the
is.
character because that's a really good
Okay,
character.
question. Would you prefer that she's prominent in the trailer, but many of her scenes are cut? Prominent as in at least she was more in the trailer than she was, or that she's barely in the trailer, but she still has her assumed presence in the movie.
I would hope that she still has her presence in the movie. I hope that her presence wasn't reduced because of anything that happened. Because again, she has an awesome character that it's a shame that she brings it down.
Right.
It's like the Flash, you
Yeah.
know. I watch things for the Flash, not the actor.
Right. That makes sense.
There was also a little teaser trailer for the new Godzilla TV show that they're doing on Apple TV,
Hmm.
which is coming out in November. I'm
And
intrigued
so,
by
is
it.
that gonna push you to get Apple TV Plus?
So I have it now because I have 3 months free because I got a new phone
Okay.
recently. So I haven't
You
watched
got a
anything on
what?
it.
New phone? You said?
I got a new phone.
Nice.
Yes.
Like a new phone or like a
It's like the the oldest I can get, but like it's new.
Okay, that's cool. You
Um,
the you okay? I know you're. I remember when you weren't happy when you got your first smartphone. I remember that. And so now you've. This is the first time you've had to upgrade a smartphone.
yes.
What?
So
Tell me about that experience for you.
that experience is like I knew like my upgrade was gonna be a downgrade and that I don't have a headphone jack anymore,
Uh-huh.
which is like sucks. I got a little dongle for it, so that's interesting. It's interesting. It's actually bigger than my smaller phone. I
Mhm.
want it to be smaller because I just love the perfect size that my other phone was.
Yeah.
Um, Otherwise, everything is fine. I don't like the placement of the button, but it's doable. I can use
Mhm.
it. It works. It's higher quality camera, which I can
Mhm.
film some stuff with.
Yeah.
I have more. I got more space on it, so I can put more crap on it if I want.
Hmm.
So that's nice.
So
So
I can't remember. I had
you
a
can't
question.
remember.
I can't
You had a
remember.
question.
I
You
had a
don't care
question.
about my phone anymore. It wasn't
No, it
really
was about your
important.
phone. It was about your phone.
Yeah,
Give you a break.
taking a break.
No,
Taking a break from the phone.
I said give me a break.
No, I won't. Shan't give you a break. But yes, no, I've had the phone for a bit now.
Nice.
I don't think I told you.
Oh, right. So why did you need to upgrade your phone?
Okay, so my old phone, the battery is like dying out, and so it just crashes. Like I'll charge it, and then as soon as I unplug it and I start using it, it just goes back down to like 0% or something.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
Okay, that's a good reason to upgrade.
that's like, and I know that's like, when I was working with Greg, like I'd have to have my phone on me because he would text me certain things, be like, okay, do this.
Mm-hmm.
And so if my phone were to just die every time that happens, it's like, oh well, I guess I need a new phone.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, for convenience sake.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been working out good. I like the good quality photos I've been getting.
Good.
Yeah. I even filmed a little video that I have edited and just waiting to upload.
Mm-hmm.
It's my bucket list video, if you were wondering. That's all done. It was lots of fun. Here's
I'm
like
glad it was lots of fun.
here's some photos of my makeup work that I did for it. If you can even see that.
Yes.
You listeners cannot, but this was fun. I dressed up as an old man to work my bucket list. You can check that out next month when it comes out. On the 10-year anniversary of when I first wrote the bucket list. That's why it's coming out so late. But yeah, no. Exciting times.
Indeed.
Yeah, like I said, there's not really much going on in the news
Yeah,
lately.
there is a little bit of good news. The fact, if it will be good news, the fact that they will be heading back to the negotiating table on Wednesday. But we'll see if it will go anywhere because last time it didn't go super well. But we can only
Right,
hope.
right, yeah. But nothing like major, like, oh, we're announcing this new project, or oh, this is this actor, or oh, here's the controversy for this week. There probably was a lot of that, but I haven't been paying attention to controversy because I never do.
Yeah, I've like there's a account on Twitter I follow called Discussing Film that I do. I check whatever they're posting all the
Yeah,
time.
so do I.
Basically, like I like how I've arranged my Twitter feed. So like I see every single tweet they do.
Mm-hmm.
However, yeah, just not a lot has really like stuck in my head, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like in theory, maybe I could like maybe write some things down, but if I'm being honest, like that just isn't of high priority to me to like keep track. I could scroll through the Twitter account if I wanted to, but I don't
It's
know.
really if something really important and notable is, I usually write it on our Discord, but there hasn't been much.
Yeah.
At least to make note to you or to myself. That's like, oh, I have to talk about this. Pinocchio's getting onto the Criterion collection.
I did see that.
It's pretty cool.
That's the biggest news we have for you guys.
It is well designed. Yes. And also like Elon is doing some more stupid stuff. He's considering charging everyone to use X/Twitter.
Yeah, and I swear I will like no.
That's just it's dumb.
Here's the thing. I just achieved like the point where I love using Twitter. I love how I've made my feed, basically. I
Yeah.
love how I've been able to use it and to kind of for me to be only so recently achieved. And then here's the thing. I think Elon has done some very interesting things and some things I really like.
Right.
I think the biggest thing is like the payouts. That's something I really hope that Instagram can implement. But because especially like Semper Metal, I'm like, I know we aren't the biggest page around, but I've had a few reels that get a lot of views, hundreds of thousands of views, and I can only imagine like if we were part of some like creators fund, like I'm not expecting like heap loads of cash, but it would be nice to get like a little something.
A little something, something.
A little something, something. I mean, YouTube does it. Now Twitter does it. Come on Instagram. It's your turn. You know what I mean? So,
Oh, yeah.
I think that's the biggest thing that I appreciate that what Elon has done, kind of doing that. I think because I think we've been just so used to YouTube doing it, and then to see Twitter do it kind of unlocked my brain, maybe other people's brains, where it's like, oh, other social media platforms could do this too. You know what I mean? But no,
I
like
could make money from cat videos.
You honestly probably could.
Just Instagram, just that one random cat video I made.
Yeah.
For no one in particular, gets like 3,000 views, and it's like, what? Why are you people watching this? It's not for you.
You probably, I don't know, capitalize on it. But
I mean,
anyways,
probably.
Anyways, but at the end of the day, like if you're charging to use the platform, I mean, there was that Vero app like 5 years ago that their thing was like the first million people to use it won't have to pay, and so everyone like jumped on it, and like the service crashed. It was like supposed to be like an Instagram competitor, and then they're like, you know what? We're not gonna charge at least right away. But I don't know what it looks like. I don't know, man. I think out of many platforms, Twitter is one of the few places you, in theory, could do it because you already have a following. So those people who feel like you can't live without Twitter, they might pay for it. But you're going to get rid of a lot of casual users who don't care enough to pay for it. And I don't know, that's just a really goofy, lame decision.
And yeah, so that's what's going on Twitter. Just it'd be a real shame if that were the case. Like, that's just not a smart move in general.
Really isn't. No.
Even if it's like super poor, cheap, that's like a terrible move.
People don't like being charged. Period.
No, I don't like that. I don't like paying for things.
That's the whole point of there being advertisements. You already have a paid tier. You don't. I think it's obviously a sign that Twitter isn't doing that well financially, so therefore they're like, oh, we need to look for other avenue streams. And yeah, you'll get a little bit of more money, but maybe this will in turn hurt the people who want to choose to advertise on you.
Yeah.
Is it going to even out? I personally doubt it. I could be wrong.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, we're already paying for all the streaming services that are just raising their prices.
Speaking of Disney.
Yeah. Like I saw that they're offering 3 months for $2, and it's like, wow, that's interesting. Then I thought about it, it's like, but now they have ads, so that's actually not that good.
Yeah.
But anyway,
wait, is it the basic with ads or basic without ads?
Basic with ads.
Oh, see, that sucks.
Yeah, no, I checked. It does really suck. Like, that's just. I've been wanting Disney to do a promotional thing for so long.
And then they do that.
But now it's with ads. Like,
yeah.
It's Hulu all over again.
Yeah.
It's Hulu all over again. Anyway, something that I've been getting into a lot recently is like I've been watching a lot of tornado videos.
Tornado videos?
Yes. I am actually a really big fan of just tornadoes. I love them. I just think they're so cool, even though they're very dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as a kid, I would watch like all of these videos about these tornado people who chase tornadoes, and they're filming all they can. It's like, that looks so cool. It's like, tornadoes can get this big and they're this small, or like these are the numbers. It's like, it's so cool. And so I've been getting back into that little niche thing that I liked recently. It's been like, oh yeah, this is why I like tornadoes. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think now I'm dying down on that because I've gotten all the information I've needed from the past decade. So
right. So tornado videos more like informational videos?
Well, it's more so like videos of people chasing tornadoes.
Gotcha.
So like
chasing towards tornadoes that are coming towards them, or as the tornadoes are moving away?
It's both. Just tornado chasers are like people who try to chase a storm.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying to get to as close to it as possible to get their best footage. Okay. It's like really crazy.
Do you want a little VeggieTales fun fact?
Go ahead.
Okay, so back when Phil and Mike were in Bible college, it's you know what? So Phil Vischer has this book called Me, Myself, and Bob, which I highly recommend.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get my own personal copy because I read my dad's copy, so need to do that at some point. I'm not going to remember. I'll remember eventually, and then it goes back. Anyways, sorry. Anyways, but in there he told a story, and I don't remember it verbatim. I don't remember all the specific details, but I can give you a general idea of what I remember what it was. There was at least one time when there was like a tornado or a tornado warning. And what did Phil and Mike do? They ran around the chapel with toilet paper trying to catch the tornado.
Oh.
And so back in 2012, there was a new VeggieTales episode being released called Robin Good and His Not So Merry Men. And originally, it was supposed to feature a silly song about either tornado catching tornado chasers. I forget what it is specifically. Fun fact, if you look on the menu, that's like on the scene selection, that's like the thumbnail of that silly song. But instead, they put on the Boys in Sync song, Bubble Wrap, which is honestly probably top 3 silly songs for me. It's just fun. Or at least back in the day. I don't know what it'd be today. Anyways, which was originally featured on a different project called If I Sing a Silly Song, where they just like ranked a bunch of silly songs and had one additional brand new one, which was the Boys in Sync one. So they replaced the tornado chasing one with the Boys in Sync one. And so I one day asked Phil Vischer, when I discovered about it, I'm like, oh, that's really interesting. Why? And he said something like there was like a tornado that happened recently that was kind of tragic, and they didn't want to be inside of it.
Yes.
So they swapped it out. So I thought that was really interesting. So we almost had a silly song about tornado chasing.
That would be a bad time to do that sort of episode.
Yeah.
Because there was a very deadly one that happened.
Around that time?
It was the last deadliest tornado, actually.
Gotcha.
So I can understand. But they should release it now.
I hope so, but also I doubt it ever will be. I think
especially now.
It's forever buried in the depths at this point. Like maybe in 20 years, maybe we can expect it, but not anytime soon, sadly.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes me sad.
It's crazy. Tornadoes are just a mainly American thing.
That's true.
It's like 95% of tornadoes are in America.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone else, it's like
once
every 100 years or something.
What is like? Did you look into why it is specifically America?
I never really looked into that. I don't think they really know, but it's just really how the winds work or something.
Interesting.
It's just the way the Americas are built, where it's like, okay, this is where we get our cold wind and our warm wind this way. That just make it prime for tornadoes.
Interesting.
We get a lot of tornadoes each year. Interesting facts. Been learning about specific tornado events are like, oh, very dangerous. Like, my goodness, like the early 1900s and like 1800s are like, oh, they're really crazy. It's like, oh, this one tornado was there for like 3 hours, went across 3 states and killed the most people. It's like,
oh wow,
but over 1,000 people. And it's like, what? We don't. Well, it's a good thing we don't have that type of thing today.
Yeah.
Like, my goodness, it's crazy. But
man, it's always wild to think about, like, state crossing tornadoes, man.
Yeah,
it's such a mentally weird concept. Like that's how massive and dangerous they are. They cross states.
They can. Most of the time they don't, but they can. So
it's crazy.
I've been getting my fix, and I'll probably get back into it in another 10 years.
We've had, like, during my time at Sight and Sound, which I don't know if I mentioned it last time, but I'm celebrating 2 years a couple weeks ago, so that's fun. But Like, we've had 2 tornado warnings, so like we go down to the basement and wait it out, kind of thing. So,
Yep. Missouri
yeah.
is one of those states.
Yep. Thankfully, nothing too bad has happened yet. Oh, remember the time in Lynchburg there was a tornado?
Remember.
Oh my God! I just remembered. There was my dad and brother almost drove out into it. Actually,
it was over on Timberlake. It was really close to us.
And it destroyed a couple buildings, right?
Yeah, it destroyed a Starbucks there, and it's like, I always take good point to look at that building every time I drive over there because like they've never reopened into anything. It's still just like cardboard on the windows. Just yeah. No,
that's
it's just
crazy.
it's just a dead building because a tornado went through.
Oh wow!
That one time several years ago. It's like 6 years ago now. It's been a long time.
That's crazy.
Oh, I was loving the time. We went down. We watched like the '60s Batman cartoon. My dad was just doing the stupid thing that people do. It's like, oh, there's a tornado. I'm gonna go out onto the porch and just stare at the thing. He watched that sucker go by. And then he drove me around the neighborhood. It's like, look at that tree. That's off of its root. Or it's like, oh, look at those trees. And it's like, cool, Dad. That's nice. I appreciate more now because I love tornadoes.
That was crazy.
Yeah, it was one of those things where, like, as a kid, I kind of wanted to be a tornado hunter, which I could do. Like, there's a lot of amateur people who go out there to record tornadoes, but it's so dangerous, and you have to know what you're doing. Like, okay, you have to have like this sonar equipment with you so that you can take a look at the satellite imagery. You have to have the good instincts of like, okay, if I'm here, that means that thing's blowing over here, so I better move now, and you better know how to move.
Man, that's crazy to think. Like, you have to go through training, I guess.
You don't.
You don't.
There's no training. It's just you do what you do.
Training on the field, I guess.
Yeah, it's just you go on the field. Like, if you're working for like a professional weather team, then yeah, they'll instruct you on things. But it's just like, use your head.
That's crazy.
It's crazy that people like schedule their entire year based upon around like the months of like March through July where the tornadoes are active. So like they'll spend weeks going around in hotels, going from like Oklahoma to Texas to all the way across to see the storm go by, and it's like, oh, it's pretty neat. They'll post it on YouTube sometimes.
That is crazy.
Yeah. No. Apparently this was a good year for tornadoes, so we'll see once the year is over.
We'll see what?
Yeah.
No, we'll see what?
We'll see what?
No. You said...
So, like, we'll see, like, what the stats are and, like, what the average of the year is.
Gotcha. Do you anticipate yourself looking those up at the end of the year?
No. I mean, there'll probably be some YouTube channel I'll follow that will tell me, there was one that was telling us the average of the past decade, and it's like, this past decade has been a real dud for the most part. Even though it's had, like, a couple big moments, they were still real duds, like, as a whole. So, the past couple years are making it up, apparently. So, that's nice for them. But anyway, let's talk about what we watched then.
Yeah. You want to go first? Or do you want me to go first?
I'll go first. In terms of TV shows, I haven't really watched much.
Except?
We've watched Mr. Bean.
And?
And, you know, that was a fun classic show. Just rewatched it because we could.
Yeah.
And? What do you mean, and?
Ahsoka. Like, I keep seeing very, like, contrasting opinions on Twitter. Some people are going nuts over it, like CJ. And some people are like, this is more Star Wars crap.
I don't think it's more Star Wars crap. Like, I don't quite think it's as amazing as CJ says. It's really good, but again, it's like the person who created the show was a storyboard artist, and he definitely storyboarded a lot of these moments. But
Mm-hmm.
I think he's so in love with a lot of shots that he's just not cutting down the bits that he doesn't need. Because again, music is carrying so much of the show. Like the last episode, really good.
Mm-hmm.
Although I did feel that it was a bit of a filler episode, even though it had everything that fans have been wanting for years. But like in terms of how it really moved the plot along, it didn't. It was just kind of like, okay, let's pause so we can give the fans exactly what they want, kind of a thing. Sure, yeah, you have character progression, I guess, but
No story progression.
not so much. Like there was at the end of the episode, which should have been the whole episode, but yeah, like it's it's interesting. I like it, but it's not like episodic as I was thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
It's again they're doing like a
Episodic
long
as more like Mandalorian episodic, you mean?
yes, but they're doing like Mandalorian season 3 where it's like one giant story spread out across 8 episodes, which historically has been troublesome the past couple of years with Disney Plus.
Right.
With every single show that did that format. So
right.
At least I think it's better than Kenobi in terms of that. But we'll see once the thing finally ends. I'm still excited for it. I still like it. I like every shot and stuff. It's like,
but
so
you see its flaws.
I can see its flaws where it's like, it's mostly like, okay, I don't think you need this moment.
Yeah.
Or
so
you could cut this down a bit.
I think your perspective is really interesting because you're definitely a very much Star Wars fan. So you love the Star Wars of it, but then you also see like how it could be better. And I think I appreciate your perspective of that.
Yeah. I think the hate is just really people who are just so tired of things that have been happening recently. Like they're so pessimistic from the Marvel shows and the past couple years of some Star Wars content. They're so burned out that they're like, okay, I don't really see what's actually there. But, like they're probably expecting movie quality. Like, we're gonna get like these great special effects or all of this amazing stuff from a TV show. But for me, like this is the best TV show, really, because TV show quality is just very not the best actually when you think about it. So I've been appreciating what we've been getting.
Gotcha.
And I'm excited for the next few weeks. It's a good story. Good show.
Glad you're enjoying
it. Like again, major flaws are. It's definitely better if you've watched all the animated stuff. Because for people who haven't, yeah, they're missing a lot of nuance.
I think the more I hear about the show, I think it kind of drives me in a certain way where it's not necessarily of me like, man, I hate Star Wars, screw Star Wars, which I mean, like, I basically am kind of like that in general. More for the fun of it, just because how popular and loved it is. So I like playing the hard contrast. But I think like seeing the hype around the show, I'm just really seeing like, okay, this is really like for Star Wars fans, and this is not for me. And I think as time goes on, I think the less anxious, I've talked about, like I kind of want to give Star Wars a more thorough chance one day, and maybe I will. But also, I kind of don't want to at the same time, And I feel like there's just other things to watch that, that I'd be less disappointed in,
Yeah, so, I get that.
Yeah, I'm just not in that mental stage right now where I don't think I don't think I necessarily want to like consume some of these franchises that I don't have heavy interest in at the moment, and
Sure.
Star Wars specifically, as we're talking right now. But I mean, other things as well.
I do hope that you could get into it one day and enjoy it, but
I think in theory,
in theory,
I agree, but obviously, personally, I kind of don't want to. You know what I mean?
right.
Like I play that back and forth in my head. Like I would love to love everything, but yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I love DC, but I've not been loving what we've been getting the past few years,
In
and
terms of
so
live action, I guess.
even the animation as well. Like, there's
Gotcha.
been a dip in quality of like they're spending less time on animation, so things are getting stiffer, or the writing has not been that great, or just there's been less projects. Like thinking in terms of the past decade, there haven't been really any animated TV show with like effort
Mm-hmm.
or promise.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't seem like um, they're not um, they're not confident in the shows, I should say. Like there's been like one animated show which I talked about the past couple weeks where it's like it's this action Justice League TV show that just died because they didn't bother to just really advertise it that much,
Mm-hmm.
or they had no confidence in it. And it's like, oh, it's not that bad a show actually, but they didn't really give it any legs.
Mm-hmm.
And like Zaz laugh now with DC or just cartoon in general, it's just like, oh, they don't really care at all,
Mm-hmm.
which is a shame. But and
Like,
even
so,
like the cartoons that we've been getting, they're like more geared towards adults,
mm-hmm.
which is like very problematic because again, kids. A lot of the best DC stuff is kid shows.
Mm-hmm.
So
So we kind of talked about it a little before, but with James Gunn saying that now DC is going to be one universe basically, except for the occasional outlier project.
yeah,
So considering that affects animation, what are your thoughts?
uh, I don't know. I don't think it's a great idea. Like I get the appeal of it, but I just think that there's gonna be major problems with continuity.
Mm-hmm.
Like with Star Wars, that like we have comic books, video games, and films and TV shows, and some things aren't always correct,
Mm-hmm.
like continuity wise. So just
I will say, I think the one good thing is that it could drive people to be like, oh, animation isn't just for kids. Like there can be really good stories that can be told through animation. So I think it can be cool to drive people to certain mediums. However, I don't think there's anything wrong with there being two things going on, the mainline DC universe and then, your other worlds projects. Like you don't have to shut all those down.
but like I also feel like, oh, that's cool, but then you end up with something like Agents of Shield or Agent Carter, where it's like,
But
okay, they're
those
canon, but they're not canon.
but weren't those more birthed out of division, while DC seems to be in a more unified sense?
Yeah, like sure, yeah, hopefully,
Mm-hmm.
but generally, I'm not at all excited with the projects they've announced. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, again, it really looks like they're gearing towards DC for adults and just everyone.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I've been rewatching through the Justice League cartoon. It's on Netflix, so it's like, okay, I'll rewatch it. It's been fun. I've been enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
Still as crisp as ever. Yeah, in terms of movies, though, um, yeah, most of the movies I've watched were part of our Barbie and Christopher Nolan podcast, so
Mm-hmm.
we've watched through Batman Begins, Insomnia, Memento, and
How
then
was so Insomnia? I haven't seen.
yeah,
You gave it 3.5 stars.
I gave it 3 stars.
3 stars.
It's it's better on your first watch for sure.
Was it one of those movies that like? Was it a Warner Brothers movie?
I don't remember,
Okay,
honestly.
because I'm curious if it was like Warner Brothers, like, okay, make this movie to see if you can do Batman.
Um, it was probably more of like, okay, he made Memento, and they're like, okay, can you do this film? He wasn't originally hired to do this film. It
Mm-hmm.
was supposed to be someone else with a different lead actor.
Gotcha.
But then, like, last minute, they got him, and so he proved that he could do a studio film, and so they gave him Batman.
Gotcha. And then with Batman, they let him do Inception, basically.
Yeah, Batman,
Okay.
and specifically The Dark Knight, like he
Mm-hmm.
proved himself,
Right.
and also The Prestige.
And the Prestige. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay. And
But
sorry, and you watched Following as well?
we're going to watch The
We're
Following
going to watch Following.
for
And
tomorrow.
so Memento, was that your first time or not?
No, I've seen it a couple other times before.
Gotcha. You said like it's not the most. Could you read your review?
Let me read my review. A film
Yeah.
with the unique backwards way of. Oh, thank you, Letterboxd. I know. I don't. Stop it. Stop it, Letterboxd. Let me read my thing. A film with a unique backwards way of telling an average plot. What makes this film interesting is how it slowly reveals things that would only be surprising when told in this format. The actual story is nothing special, but the format elevates it. My friend heavily disagrees with this. Like, he thinks the story is amazing. I don't, but, you know.
I think when I saw that review, I'm like, you make a really good point. Where I mean, I'm not here to claim the story is good or bad or mid or anything, but I think what you said about like the way the story is told is what makes the movie so special. It's what makes the story so special,
Right.
and I think it again is just another element where it's like you see into Nolan's brain and you're just like, oh my gosh, it's incredible to see the way he thinks. And yeah, I think the story, if you told it in a linear fashion, which there is a linear cut, and I want to see said linear cut just out of curiosity. But yeah, if you were to watch it in a linear fashion, it's not as engaging. It's not as interesting, and because of how the details are revealed in a linear fashion, and not to mention you'd have a big phone call like stuck in the middle of a movie. You know what I mean? So the way that he envisioned the movie is really cool.
I mean, the phone call is really the beginning of the film, actually.
Is it the beginning?
It's the beginning
My bad.
chronologically. So he starts with a
Okay.
phone call and ends with killing the guy.
Gotcha.
So
I couldn't remember specifically.
you get some like side character motivation chronologically, but yeah, I don't really think it's all that special of a story.
It's
But
just
then
special the way it's told.
It is. Like, the way it's told makes it so much better than thinking about it chronologically.
Yeah.
He disagrees, but, yeah, we're starting a new Barbie section where it's called Barbie Dreamtopia, where it's a short little series of episodes, but they started with like a 40-minute special.
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh, it's so bad. It's so bad.
So you guys didn't hit all the Barbie then?
No, like there's like a couple Barbie side things burst here and there.
Gotcha.
So we're going through that as special episodes.
Uh-huh.
This is just everything that I was like, oh no, this is why I don't want to watch Barbie. This is it. This is all of it right here. Just like, oh, it's that kid show crap.
Yeah.
With no consistent plot. It's 40 minutes of like a character learning to be confident of how to ride a bike. With like a dreamland with not
honestly,
important
even
stuff.
a 5-minute short would probably be boring enough.
I mean, it has interesting animation, but still, it's just so bland.
That's wild.
I watched 2 films that you and friends have been like telling me to watch for a long time.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Well, first off, I'm gonna say, is it okay if I mention your ratings?
Yes.
Okay, so my good friend here, Mr. John, he gave both movies 4 stars, and I'm not gonna lie, I was not expecting that. I think one of them, was gonna be just a lot where I'm not sure if you would have appreciated it, and then the other one I think would have just been in just not your style, where I don't think you would have really appreciated it. And so the fact that you gave both of them 4 stars really surprised me. So honestly, in my mind, in my opinion, I see that as a win.
I mean, I can tell good filmmaking
Mm-hmm.
and just unique, interesting ideas and concepts. It's like, yeah,
Right.
sure. I can tell it's a lot better than the stuff I've been watching this year. That's just like corporate mush.
Right.
It's like, yeah, there's some moments in each of them where like, I don't really care about that.
Right.
But it doesn't fully detract from the thing. Yeah, the 2 films I'm talking about are like the 2 ones that everyone's like, watch these films, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so the first one is Parasite, and the second one is Everything, all at once.
So you want to give some detailed thoughts?
So like really, it's like it was late at night, and so I had access to these movies, and I was like, you know what? What the heck? Screw waiting for someone to show it to me.
Yeah.
Like, I'll watch them both right here, right now.
So you literally one night you watched them both.
I did.
Which one did you watch first?
I mean, Parasite.
Okay.
I went chronologically. So Parasite came out first.
Cool. Well, honestly, I think visually, I think it was best that you went that way, because if you watch everything and then Parasite, I think Parasite would have been visually boring enough in comparison where you would have lost your mind.
It was like 2 a.m. when I watched these films, so it was like one of those impulse decisions where it's like, I'm gonna stay up all night and watch movies.
Yeah.
And then sleep the rest of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Which I did. Parasite. Again, like reading subtitles is not really my thing, but like I gave the film the chance. It's like, okay, I know it's gonna be subtitles. Like after half an hour, you stop focusing on subtitles and just kind of your brain starts to accept that the story going on. And yeah, it has a very interesting concept of like parasites and people acting as parasites. I don't think I fully love the ending of the film. It just kind of went a little too far in terms where it's like, oh, okay, is there a reason why this character did this? Probably. It just seems kind of he went from 5 to 10 very quickly without the 6 to 9. So, you know, I can tell why people love it, and it's like, oh, Oscar-winning film. I can tell. It is a well-made film with an idea not really thought well of.
Sorry, what?
With an idea that's not really thought of a lot. So
Gotcha.
Yeah, no. My review was just that was something.
It is one of those movies where it's almost like you don't know necessarily what to say after watching it.
Yeah. Like, I can tell most of it was good. It was like, okay. Like, there were moments where it's like on the edge of my seat where it's like, oh, this is interesting.
Yeah.
Like, when they're trapped in the house and have to get out. And they're like, oh, they're hiding on the table. I'm like, oh, okay. This is this is something. Okay. But yeah, I don't know if I loved the film.
Yeah, I feel that.
I could tell that it was really well made. It was the director really loved the story that he was trying to say.
Right. I will
Like,
say I feel very similar to you in general. I think there's a lot of movies I watched. I'm like, this is really well made. I don't know if I love it.
right.
Two very common examples for me are Jurassic Park and The Batman. I acknowledge they're incredibly well made movies. I don't like them.
Yeah. And so the director has a quote where it's like, if people can get past the barrier of subtitles and like they'll have a wider access to great films.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I totally agree with that. I can watch the Godzilla movies and there's some films that I can accept watching the original language, but generally speaking, I have to work my way up to it.
Mm.
And so the second film is a mixture of subtitles and English language, of course. Everything, everywhere, all at once. And it's like going into it, I was excited because it's like, okay, it's the multiverse concept.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very intrigued with the multiverse concept, and it's like, yes, they did a good job with it. It's
Mm-hmm.
what I wanted their story with multiverse to be.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like it got really weird at times,
Mm-hmm.
maybe a little bit too far at times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, did we really need all that phallic imagery? Um, but for the most part, it did a really good job. There was a point in the film where it's like, oh, I'm not really sure where this is gonna go,
Mm-hmm.
and like depending on where it went, that would lower my score.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think like halfway through the film, or going into like 2/3 of the way, I started to like be like, okay, yeah, can we move on a bit from here?
Mm-hmm.
And then like the overall theme at the end, it's like they're going into some dangerous territory there that could drop my score because it's like, oh, is that the moral you really want the story to be?
Mm-hmm.
But they brought it back just barely at the end to make it to a 4 again. So really well crafted.
Mm-hmm.
Just yeah,
Yeah.
I wouldn't really recommend it to. I wouldn't really recommend it to just an average person.
Right.
But
Yeah.
if you're interested in this type of thing, sure, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Um. Yeah. I'm glad you were able to watch the movies. I think it's just been really interesting, like the past year or two, as I've just been kind of like watching more movies and like just kind of like just discovering things as relates to like the art of movies and cinema. It's just been really interesting, and those two movies are definitely some of those movies. I'd count Inception as one of them as well.
Okay.
I, I think it'd be really interesting to make a list. I don't know if I will, but just like some movies that like opened up my brain to like, oh, a different way of storytelling, a different way of being a movie. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Or just interesting storytelling. Those three movies I mentioned. You know what I mean?
I kind of watch these films out of spite.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I almost even watch soundtrack number 1 out of spite as well. I watch these films. I'm gonna shove it into Christopher's face by watching this show as well. I didn't, but I thought about it.
Honestly, if you did, I think that would have been so funny. That's so funny, man.
We'll see next time. We'll see.
That's fine. What was I talking about that last time or something like that?
I don't know. Maybe. I mean, you were talking about the last episode, and so
soundtrack number 1.
You did, yes.
Really? I don't remember.
You were talking about all of these films the last time, and so.
Well, soundtrack number 1 is a TV show, though.
I know.
Okay.
These other films you also telling me about, like, oh, you gotta watch it at some point, John. I'm like, yeah, I know. And then out of spite, I just went ahead and did it.
I'll say, like, soundtrack number 1, like, I think out of all those three, that's the one I'm least expecting you to like. So that one I'm not gonna push as hard on, kind of thing. But I love it personally. I don't know if everyone will, but yeah.
But yeah, those are the main things that I watched. Again, I'm gonna be watching Following soon, so
yeah.
then that will be. I've not seen it.
Okay, so is that the one you haven't seen,
That's
basically?
the one major film I've not seen. So
Gotcha.
I'll have that complete set.
Nice.
Very nice.
Out of curiosity, are you guys gonna watch Doodlebug?
Is that a short film?
That's a Nolan short film. I think it was before Following.
Right now, we don't have any plans to do that, but like that
Gotcha.
could be a thing later down the line.
I think that'd be an interesting one to watch.
Okay.
Okay. What was? I'm trying to look at the calendar. Well, first off, I will say, um, I have broken my streak of watching a movie every single day. I made it 8 days. There was one day we watched 2 movies, and 2 days where we watched short films. One of them being Following, the other one being called Opal, which is a 10-minute short, but it's just something to log on Letterboxd. So consider those exceptions if you want to, but they exist. I do. The last day we recorded was, I'm gonna assume, the third. So, did I talk about watching Nacho Libre?
Yes, you did.
Okay, cool. Then the next movie I watched, another Robert Eggers movie. He directed The Witch, which I watched earlier, is called The Lighthouse, which stars Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. And it's just an experience. It's a wild, nutty experience. It's one of the nuttiest movies I've ever seen. It's not like visually nutty like Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's just like almost like subtly nutty, but also obviously nutty. It's very strange, but I love it. It was just such a weird experience. And then I mentioned Opal, which is interesting. And then watched Parasite, which again I loved. I think is that my third time watching it. I kind of at this point I've kind of that's my third time seeing it and third time seeing it this year, and so I need a break. I need a break of it.
Yeah.
But I don't. I think first 2 times I watched them within like a week of each other. I think second time I was able to appreciate more, just as a film itself. And so I think this third time around, I think it was a little too observational for me. I didn't feel as engaged with the story, and so that was a little rough, and that made me really sad. Because I think that, again, I felt a little similar, probably worse, with Days of Future Past. So I'm like, okay, another movie to distance myself from. Parasite. So the actress of The Poor Girl.
Yeah.
Her name is Pak Sodam. And man, I love her.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Celebrity crush.
So both me and my roommate love her, and so we're like, you know what we're gonna do?
Watch some of her films.
Yes, and that's exactly what we did. So, the next movie we watched, starring Miss Pak Sodam, is The Silenced. By the way, it's a 2015 movie. There's one from like a few years earlier from Korea, same or similar name. It's not that one. But The Silenced is a very intriguing movie, which, yeah, it was really funny because, like, my roommate, like, he watches some crap. He's seen a lot of crap. You know what I mean? Like, he's currently watching The Boys, kind of thing.
Okay.
He likes horror and all that things. This movie isn't a straight up horror movie. There are horror elements. There are some very horrific images, not gory per se, but horrific images.
Yeah.
It was hilarious because like the first half, my roommate was like legitimately like freaked out, and I was like laughing at him. And then it was a little weird with a little reveal. It kind of flipped where I started not necessarily getting freaked out, but I started to transition more into that, like, oh my God, I really hate what's going on. You know what I mean? And he was kind of like, okay, cool. It's not exactly what I thought it was going to be. So he relaxed a bit. I could talk about the plot of the movie. but also you're not likely to watch it. But I
It's
also
up
don't
to you.
it.
If
I don't
you
know.
if you're wanting to talk about it, go ahead.
Yeah. I
Good talk.
it's I don't know. I might come back to it. We'll put it that way. And if I don't come back to it, then I don't come back to it. But if I do, I
Okay.
do. Then the next movie we watched, and effectively ending the 18-day streak, was a movie called Special Delivery, starring Fox Adam. Like, she was the lead role, man. It was
Nice.
awesome. And my roommate, after watching it, he's like, now you don't have to watch a Fast and Furious movie because this movie did it better. I'm like, awesome. And I bet, unlike the Fast and Furious movies, this one actually had a story. And I don't know. It's the reviews and consensus of the movie is a little mixed. But for me, I love the lead actress, and there were some fun moments. I don't know. I enjoyed it. So yeah, that was great. I'm gonna just hit. I'm gonna go a little out of order on my watch list.
Okay. Yeah.
Should I?
If you want.
I'm not gonna. Okay. So the next movie we watched is called Shades of the Heart, which stars an actress. She's also a K-pop artist who goes by the name IU. She just recently decided to go as the name IU as an actress. She was going under her real name. But IU is quite the brand, capitalize on it. So good for her.
Sure.
Anyways, but she is in this movie called Shades of the Heart. By the way, we were running on this like 7th-day trial on a service called Viki. So that's after Parasite. The Silence we watched on Tubi. So these next 4 movies, sorry, Special Delivery, Shades of the Heart, and the next 2 movies we watched on Viki. Anyways, there were 2 nights after we broke the streak. I think 2 nights. One night I started showing my roommate Severance. I think we're 3 episodes in, and then one night we were watching South Park, and I fell asleep in the middle of those episodes because we've been staying up late watching these movies, and just it was definitely fun. I'm glad we did it, and there's still many more movies I want to watch, but it's not easy doing all the time. So I want to transition more into like TV shows like Severance. Be like, okay, I come home, watch an episode of Severance, and go to bed instead of like watching a movie. Anyways, Shades of the Heart, IU's in it. It's very, very intriguing. Very intriguing. I'll put it that way. Not your typical structure of a movie. So yeah, if you like something heartfelt and just like hearing stories of people, basically, check out Shades of the Heart. It's not going to be for everybody. Then the next movie we watched, the last Box Sodam movie, she's barely in 2 minutes of this movie, but it's called The Throne. It was actually, so like in the Academy Awards, there's the International Picture nomination category. So countries will submit 1 movie for the category, and then the Academy will choose 5. Those are the nominees. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So just because a country submits a movie doesn't mean it was effectively nominated. But turns out The Throne was the movie that Korea sent in for nomination. I think it was 2015. So I found that out after watching the movie. So Bak Sodam is in the movie, and then also the poor dad in Parasite plays the king in this movie. One of the leading roles. I didn't know because his makeup. Personally, I thought I mean I didn't recognize him. I legitimately thought they got like more like someone in his age, like older. I don't know, man. Anyways, the movie. Oh my god, so sad. If you're to watch this movie, what you focus on is the story between the father and the son, not the politics. The politics went over my head. I don't understand it all. That's not the focus of the movie. And so basically, if you know anything about Asia, just high expectations for your children, and just how the son, just didn't want to live that life, and just how the father basically, specifically verbally abused him. But it just was not a healthy relationship, and it's a sad movie. Man, it was sad. I don't know, man.
There are sad movies, yeah.
I recommend it though. I wept for like a minute or two after the movie. Not like sobbed, cried, but like wept because it just not that I necessarily struggled with it before, or at least to that extent. But man, compelling emotional story, man. Then the next movie, which also stars the poor dad from Parasite, and also another submission from Korea to the Academy Awards, is called A Taxi Driver, which The Throne is based on historical events, and A Taxi Driver even more so. Oh my god, man. It's such a heavy story. Like, it works out at the end because it's history. But, oh my god, man. It's so heavy. And so, I don't know. After a string of Parasite, The Silence, also a heavy movie. Very heavy movie. Shades of the Heart, The Throne, A Taxi Driver. And Special Delivery had a few moments where you're just like, that's just sad. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It was at 1, 2, 3. So like 6 Korean movies in a row, kind of except for one of them, that were practically all super sad or just emotional. And me and my roommate are like, you know what? Whatever the next movie we're gonna watch, it's not gonna be serious and it's not gonna be Korean.
Yeah, you need something a bit more lighthearted, huh?
Yeah, we need. So personally, do you know what movie I want to watch next?
Go ahead.
The Naked Gun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because I don't know. We talked about this on the podcast, but what's the name of the show again?
So the show is called Police Squad.
Police Squad.
Yeah.
I'm always saying Police Squad or Police Files because I can't remember the name.
Yeah, it's 6 episodes long. Some of the jokes from that show are utilized in the films.
Gotcha.
Um,
So, yeah, I don't know. You showed me the one episode. I thought it was hilarious. There were some legitimately hilarious jokes in it, and I think, especially after watching like the South Park movie, like me and my roommate have been enjoying the show. We laugh out loud, but then the movie, like, because the show is basically kind of based on, they work on it for a weekend and it's aired on TV. So
yeah,
there's a lot of over a week, a lot of just improv and just just it's all made within a week, which it's just crazy. But a movie, you have time to develop and create and really like pack your punch. And we were nonstop laughing during the movie, and I was really thinking like how much like hopefully The Naked Gun will also be similar in that, where they took time to develop the movie, pack in their punch, and hopefully it'll be a great experience. And then also, you haven't seen it, but a movie that I love from, I think it released in the 70s. But still, What's Up, Doc? I just remember being hilarious. I'm like, okay, another older movie. Hopefully it's just as hilarious. You know what I mean?
okay.
So
Yeah.
who knows? I could be wrong. Maybe it won't be as great. But you know what? I'm willing to take my chance. And I think, after the one episode, I think it'll be a good time. So I hope to report back to you on that movie the next time we
Yeah.
talk. Yeah.
I think I enjoyed the shows better than the movie,
Mm-hmm.
but I watched the movie first and then learned it was a show and like loved the show.
Gotcha.
So
It's decent order that I'll go in, you think?
sure, yeah. I mean, you go the same way I do. Sure,
Right.
yeah. Enjoyed it.
Yeah. I think also partially what kind of brought it back into my radar was seeing that there's going to be they're going to release it on 4K soon. So I don't think what is on Max, I believe it's currently on Max. I don't think or believe is going to be the 4K. I could be wrong, but still, that is kind of what recently like brought it up in my eyes. Like, okay, bet I definitely want to watch that soon. And then if I end up really, 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 really liking it, then I might as well buy it. So,
Right.
yeah.
I hope you have a good time with that one.
I hope so too, especially after the last freaking movies we watched. Like, basically, just the past week, we've only been watching South Park, man. We've been so depressed. Like, they're great movies. They're just sad and depressing, man.
Right, yeah.
I recommend them. Obviously, they're not going to be for everybody. So if you are curious, do your research and see if they'll pique your interest. But man, also just hold on to your heart. Again, I sobbed at the end of one of them, and the last time I cried was after Everything Everywhere All at Once a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's rare that a movie makes me cry. So I don't know how emotional you are. I'm not expecting you to cry. It just hit me for some reason.
Right.
But
Yeah.
point is, we just watched some really depressing movies lately. Great movies in their own right. Not all of them are peak, but I recommend them. I think that's one thing I kind of just want to briefly talk about. Um, it's hard for me to like. I Letterbox is cool. I like seeing what people watch, but I hate giving my opinion sometimes.
Right.
I also use IMDb because it also has like TV shows. I think if Letterboxd properly incorporated TV shows, I don't think I would use Letterboxd. I could be wrong. I don't know. Um, but so I use IMDb for both. But I will, whenever I watch something, I will go ahead and rate it on IMDb for me because I know what I think and I'm not subject to judgment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I remember one time, like I can put up a fight about it. But I remember someone like saw my rating for Spider-Man. I'm like, I have to go through this again. You know what I mean? This or rainy Spider-Man. I'm like, yeah. I'm just like, you know what? I especially Spider-Man. Like, okay, I can put up a little bit of a pissy fight about it, but I don't necessarily have a cinematic argument on my end.
Sure. Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. So I actually went on Letterboxd and removed almost all my ratings. I left a handful there. There's still a handful, but many of the movies on there, I just knocked out the ratings because I don't want to defend myself every single time. And then also, I don't always know my opinion. Parasite, great example. You know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, really well done. I don't know if I love the movie first watch. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It was just very much a mental conflict, and so I don't want to necessarily always put myself out there and say this is my opinion or something like that. And so I wanted to just rest in my head, let me roll over it, and then get back to you. Maybe when I watch it a second time, who knows? Maybe a few days later I'll pop on a rating, but I don't know. I think that's partially just me just not wanting to be as present online as I have been. And I don't know. We'll see where that mental journey will take me. Because I've probably talked about it on here before, but I don't know, man. We'll see. I'm thankful for where I'm at or whatever I'm doing, but also I feel like, especially having my roommate right now, but also, just people in real life. And I have a few, friends online or whatever. And it's like, you know what? I did use posting things online as an avenue for me to express myself. And now I have people that I'm able to express myself towards. And then especially during college, I'm like, maybe I can make money. And it didn't pan out all the way. Like I have not success enough where like I can go to a job and be like, look at this. I got 1,000 subscribers on a YouTube channel, 250,000 views. Like that's decent stuff to, go to, some marketing company and be like, I can get views. You know what? I can even do better now. Look at Semper Metalum. I have multiple videos with over 100,000 views. Multiple. And like that looks good on a resume. You know what I mean?
That sounds like a weird thing to add to a resume. It's like,
It does.
check out my social media. It's like,
It does, but like if I'm applying for like a social media marketing job, it's the perfect thing.
Oh, I get that, but
Yeah,
just thinking traditional,
Yeah.
just job stuff is like, interesting.
Yeah, so not everything, but specifically marketing, I think would be perfect. But yeah, so I don't know. Who knows? It still may continue with online content to a degree, but also now I have a job. Now I don't. If online creation takes off, that's awesome. But also, like, my focus is more Semper Metallum. If I'm to do online creation, in hopes that maybe that could take off. Maybe it won't, But right now, that's what I'm going to invest in. And then when I feel like I've run my course there, maybe I'll turn back to my stuff. I don't know. How's job searching for you?
I don't really want to get into that,
Okay, that's fair.
but there's nothing major to say.
Mm-hmm.
Just you don't know, but you know.
Okay.
But yes, yeah, no, because of the whole ordeal, where it's like don't have anything fully substantial going on or stable, I should say. That's like kind of been affecting like me watching shows and movies. Where it's like I'll think about watching something, then I'm like, I don't know. I could spend this time looking for a job, and then I don't watch something.
And then also you don't look for the job as well.
Sure, if you think about it like that, yeah.
I feel that because I know I've done it before.
Yeah, but I'm in a better position than where I was a few weeks ago, so here's hoping.
Good. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but that's been fun. Other thing to suggest, I guess, for films for you, a little bit more lighthearted, is like Studio Ghibli films.
My roommate wants me to watch some of those as well.
Yeah, I mean, they're like one of those watch once at some point films. If you like it, you can watch it again.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm mentally ready for it.
Yeah. It took me a bit to get into Studio Ghibli. Like, once I got Max and saw that's like, oh, all those films are there. Maybe I'll watch one or see what goes. And then I did. But, yeah. I've been thinking about watching them again at some point, so.
Right.
But they're all on Max.
Are you excited about seeing that new one?
I'm not really excited, but it's like, oh, a new one, okay. I'll see it at some point. That's what I'll say.
So, my roommate has more of interest in Asia in general than I do.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'll make jokes and such, but I will say for me personally, and it's not to say I'm never ever going to watch something from Japan or China. I don't think that's true. But I think for me, because genetically I am half Korean, there is just more interest in Korea. And, despite living there, I don't know that much about Korea or its history. And so it's like kind of like I want to like learn more kind of thing,
Yeah.
So again, I think it's been really cool and interesting to watch some of those historical movies lately. So like, learn a little more about its history, even though they might not be completely accurate. But get a general idea. Specifically, Taxi Driver. That one is. I did not do like a Google research about it, but like seeing how the story is told, I believe that those were the basis of the events. I think The Throne was more of like meant to be more of the story between the father and the son than to be an actual historical movie, even though it is. But you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I feel like I've not really reached a point where I feel satisfied in knowing my Korean culture or history for me to feel interested to see movies from other cultures. And I believe I'll hit a point eventually where I'll be like, okay, I feel like I understand Korea more, and then I'll feel like I'll want to. I'd be more open to check out films from other cultures. You know what I mean?
Has
But
your roommate been like talking to you about anime and such?
not really. Like on Viki, like it's not just Asia. Sorry, Korea. There's like the like Japan, China,
Right.
and
Yeah.
I started making jokes about like why are you going to watch some Chinese communist propaganda or whatever. But yeah, I'm not against him having an interest in that. I'm personally not ready for it, I guess. Yeah, I guess we'll just put it that way. I'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
But I think there's like it's not like I've seen a lot of Korean movies. I've not. You know what I mean? So it's like I want to like get my fill, and then be like, okay, now I'll check out stuff from Japan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've only scratched the surface. I literally mean nicked the surface of the surface. Because basically those movies I mentioned, except for like a couple, I think except for 2 other movies, I think those are the only Korean movies I've seen. So less than 10 Korean movies I've ever seen. I don't feel like I'm ready to see a Japanese movie yet. Now,
Right.
I do think Studio Ghibli is a little different story. But even so, I'm not mentally there yet. Specifically, my next movie, again, I want to try to watch The Naked Gun. But like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. I also like with my thing of like not watching more shows and TV and the films. It's like okay, I get to that, and then I just go back to YouTube and just watch whatever's there.
That's funny.
It's like, oh, like I'll watch a major production of something eventually. Let me just watch this like low effort video for 3 hours about this guy ranking TV shows or episodes, or just talking about crap. I don't know.
Do you watch videos at 1 speed or 1.25?
No, I don't.
You don't do either?
I no, I just watch it normally.
Okay.
I never watch anything at advanced speed unless it's like an educational video for an assignment. It's like okay, then I have to speed up to like double speed to take the quiz. But like if it's just like a normal YouTube video, I'll watch the whole thing in normal speed.
Gotcha.
I don't feel the need to rush it. I could just pause it and come back to it later if I need to.
Gotcha.
I'm not in a hurry. I'm not like you.
Well, no, actually, my roommate watches most videos at 1.2. I typically watch most of my videos at 1. I think there's one time a few months ago where I attempted to watch a video at 1.2, and I could just like hear it. You know what I mean? Like just the quality, and I'm like, I can't do it. So I think there's some cases where I will, and in most cases I won't, basically.
Like only if it's like suggested to watch something at this speed for like a comedic effect, then I'll do that. It's like, oh, we watched this stupid thing at like half speed. It sounds like he's like drunk and like this crazy thing. It's like, and you watch it, and it's like, oh yeah, that's fun. But no, I just watch normally. I don't really care to speed up my time because I'm there to fill my time.
Yeah, that's fair.
So, hence the tornado videos, per se.
Yeah.
But yes, I will be. I think my next big project I'll be working on is probably my DC video about involving my 30-page document about getting into DC and stuff like that. So that should be exciting. Not so much editing wise, but editing is just it takes so much energy out of you. It's like
so. Am I to assume you don't enjoy editing?
I do.
You do
when I'm in the process, but it's like I have to. I don't want to do it, but it's like I know it has to be done, and I typically enjoy doing it when I do it. But it's like it's that mental thing. It's like oh, I have to do this. So, which is why I did my bucket list early, A little bit too early, actually. So, yeah, no, it should be fun. I'm happy
Good.
for the next few projects I'm working on.
Mm-hmm.
I could try and figure out some more to do, so we'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see what happens. But no, it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, my Disney Plus is gonna end a couple days after Ahsoka ends.
Mm-hmm.
So I've already canceled for the month, for the
Yeah.
month. So I just don't really care to pay that price.
Yep.
And like I haven't really been watching anything else on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
It's like there's only so much Disney content I can take.
And then
It's
also, it doesn't help that they're not adding anything to the platform.
right, and it's like there's a lot of stuff that I haven't seen. Like there's a lot of Marvel cartoons there, sure, that I can watch, but like I don't really feel like watching them.
Yeah. And then also knowing that your time is so short, you don't want to binge watch them.
Well, not only that, it's also like knowing that they're not as well received or as beloved as other cartoons, and it's like, do I really want to watch it? It's like it's 4 seasons, 20 some episodes, it's like 20 minutes. I have to get into it.
I still need to finish watching that X-Men thing. X-Men
And
show.
it's like I could rewatch some Star Wars stuff, but it's like I don't want to know. I don't know if I want to rewatch stuff right now.
Right.
Just depends on how I'm feeling. So I'm gonna be getting rid of my Disney for now.
Yeah.
And then I'm considering Paramount Plus.
What's on Paramount for you?
Mainly like, well, oh yeah, Star Trek, I guess, but also like Nickelodeon stuff. So there'll be some Ninja Turtle stuff.
Okay.
And maybe some other stuff. I don't really know,
Mm-hmm.
but you know they have a good price.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I've been seeing advertisement for it, and it's like, yeah, I could probably do that.
Yeah.
Maybe, but I also took a look at what's on Apple TV. There's like, outside of Severance, there's like not really anything I want to see. Maybe I'll see Ted Lasso. We'll see.
Right. Yeah. Ted Lasso is not for everybody. Like, it's definitely probably in theory the most accessible, but also like it's not for everybody. I mean, I don't find it funny. Who knows? Maybe watching it with my roommate, maybe I'll laugh, but also like I didn't find it funny when I watched it. So
sure.
Yeah. I mean, like if you ever get Apple TV Plus, I guess it'd pretty much just be Godzilla and Severance.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like
that makes sense.
There's not really a lot of movies there. They don't really have anything borrowed. It's just their original content that they have there.
I do see like they have like a couple things borrowed that I think gets cycled out, but it's like not a lot of like high profile or heavily advertised. So I'm not even like aware of like what they got going on.
Plus, it's like 3 months free. Like I'm not paying for anything for that.
Right.
So, and plus, it's not really that big of a price as well.
Yeah. Well,
I can watch some baseball if I want to.
I will say that is one cool thing about Apple, even though it doesn't offer a lot. Like, if you didn't get a free trial, like just to pay that month to watch some content, like that's a good deal. You know what I mean? Compared to practically every other service right now. And I think Apple has some quality. It's just a matter of like choosing to sift through the quality, which is not something everybody wants to do.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens in the next few months.
Yeah.
Like, I could go back to Max one day. That's probably most likely.
Right. My roommate really wants to get Netflix whenever he gets paid. Obviously, there's some Korean stuff on there, but like he watched through Breaking Bad, and so eventually he'll want to see Better Call Saul. It was actually interesting. He finished Breaking Bad right before he moved in with me, and so like it was. And for a moment, we were watching like goofy movies that we talked about on here, and then I was asking like, you know, like there's some serious movies I want to see, but like I don't know why I keep choosing these goofy movies. Are you okay with that? He's like, Yeah, Breaking Bad was depressing. I need stupid crap. So
Oh yeah, no, Breaking Bad. Once you get to the end, it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's very sad to see things go down towards the end for sure. So I get that.
Yeah. I might watch it one day.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I would watch it again for sure. I guess. Do we want to go into some mixtapes?
What?
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 What do you mean what?
What do you mean what?
What do you mean what?
I think you're being a little goofy goober right now.
I'm not.
You're not?
You sent me your mixtape last night.
I did. But also, last time you said you listened to it the day of. So I'm like, yeah, I don't feel bad. And then also, it's literally just 5 songs plus one bonus song.
I know.
I'm like, eh.
I know, but it's like I've been waiting the past 2 weeks. It's like, when is he gonna send his mixtape?
I'm sorry.
It's like, did he forget? Like, we're gonna get to the episode, and is he gonna ask me and be like, I don't know, I didn't get any link. But no, I got it last night, and then I just listened to it right away. And I listened to it again today. So
okay, cool. Who do you want to go first?
I guess since we're talking about it, I can go first.
Okay.
All right. Let's see. The songs were honestly Immolation of Night, Liar, Poppy Korean version, and Cupid. I was fine overall. Again, like I'm very detailed about this.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was okay. I don't remember it that much. The 2 ones that would stand out to me the most were Liar and Cupid. Immolation of Night. I'm not really into that style.
I know.
It's for this one. It was the vocals mainly. That's
interesting.
Like,
so if it was instrumental, you wouldn't be as turned off.
Right. Like the instrumentals was like, okay, I can see that there's some good things in this, but then like the vocals come in and it's like, oh, it's probably what you feel about Ruby. It's like you're not a big fan.
Okay,
of the
but I don't think she's a good singer.
Oh yeah.
Or they're pushing her too much.
Maybe, but still.
Okay, fine. That's funny though.
Poppy...
And Cupid, I'm curious. Oh no, okay, you're going in order. My bad. Oh wait, you skipped. Are you nothing about Liar? That's fine.
Oh no, I enjoyed Liar. It was a nice little slower song.
Okay, Poppy. By Stacy.
By Stacy. It's not the other Poppy.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just a generic.
It's not generic.
K-pop.
It's fun.
It was like from the other K-pop things. It just was like, okay, your basic little nice beats, and then you get to the chorus where it's just this one catchphrase that's the title of your song that's gonna stick in your head. But like nothing really, just like, oh, okay. Cupid was actually interesting because it kind of reminded me of some Daft Punk feelings. Maybe something else. Generally, I thought, yeah, Cupid and Liar were the 2 ones that I enjoyed the most.
Just to specify for people, Honestly by Limelight, Immolation Night by Invent Animate, Liar by Paramore, Poppy by Stacy, and Cupid by 50/50. The 50/50 song actually went viral. It's still charting on the Hot 100 last time I saw. I love the sweet little song, and I'm proud that this is on my list before like it got as popular as it did. But also, the girls are in a little situation with the record label, and so I hope things will be sorted out because it's sad what's going on. I personally believe the girls. I've not done a lot of research, but I think just in general, like I think like the current CEO has done some iffy things before where it would make sense that this wouldn't go super well. and then also I can see like how the industry isn't. Part of it is just Korea, but then also part of it is the industry where it's not always in the favor of certain people, specifically the artists in this case. So I hope things will work out at the end of the day. But I love Cupid a lot. Cool. I am actually really intrigued the fact that you actually appreciated the instrumental of Immolation Night. So
What are your thoughts on these songs, Christopher?
my songs?
Yeah. What are your thoughts about these songs?
Okay, Cupid, I think is a great song. It's both. I didn't expect it to be as crossover as it did, but like, for me, it definitely has like a K-pop sound that I love, and it's sweet. And I'm personally just very thankful and grateful it went as popular as it did, because I don't listen to a lot of like American pop radio, but personally, from what I've observed, it's just very depressing and moody. And so to have a sweet little song like this on the radio makes me very, very happy. Poppy by Stacy, it's just a fun song. That's all it really is. It's just fun.
Sure. Yeah.
Liar by Paramore, I think it's just a nice little sweet ballad of a song musically. You know what I mean? It's just very soothing song. Immolation Night by Invent Animate, it goes hard. It's fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah, it does go hard. Like it doesn't go as hard as some other things, but like, yeah.
But I mean, for me liking metal, it's nice and heavy. Like the band's just talented. I love them. I really enjoyed the song. And then honestly, by Limelight, it's at the bottom of the list. I don't think it's the strongest song, obviously. So I'm not trying to put down the song. I think it was definitely like a song where it's like, okay, I needed spot number 5, but I don't hate the song. I'm not in love with the song, but I think it's kind of sweet. I think the chorus is like nice and sweet and catchy or whatever.
Yeah, that's
right.
I'd agree with that. It's like nothing's fully special, but it's just a nice, sweet little song to have in the background, I guess.
Just again, for every people's mental context. So this is my favorite songs from February of this year. So for Semper Midtown, we do a list of like 5 songs. And so like I haven't really like made tapes for you, and then I'm also like I did like a K-pop tape for you. We've done like end of year lists, which I mean I've made for myself, so not even for you. But I mean the K-pop mix I made for you. But it's like, okay, I didn't want to put a lot of effort into something because I don't always think about it. But I'm like, oh, I've made these little lists, and it's just 5 songs, so that makes it a little easier for you to digest. Not so many songs, you know what I mean?
Right.
And then also, and especially just lately, it's just been mostly K-pop, so it's not going to be metal heavy kind of thing. There will be some of those songs, but like that's not going to dominate the list or anything like that. I think it has a nice variety of things, so that's part of the reason why I do this. Anyways, so yeah, I mean, I enjoy it, honestly. I don't love it, but like the other 4 songs, I really, really enjoy / love. So, yeah.
Nice.
Similar to you, I only listened to your tape within the past 24 hours. More or less specifically in the past 4 hours.
Okay.
So, out of curiosity, did you listen to the Fat Rat song I sent you?
I did, yes.
What's your thoughts?
Oh, yeah, I enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
What was your reason for sending it?
Because you had the Fat Rat on your list. Okay. So, on that note, so the Fat Rat I sent him is a song that features Everglow. The Fat Rat song he sent me is called The Calling, featuring Laura Brem. That was probably actually my favorite song on this list. I just really enjoyed it. I've heard there's one friend I knew that like he had played like a handful, and I don't know, it was more like in the background, and I wasn't able to latch onto all of it, and maybe there were some sounds that I didn't really catch on to. So I was able, to digest this specific song, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I think this song is probably also my favorite of the list. But for those of you wondering, this is the songs on this list are Then these first five are from the Bethel Music Group. It's called In Over My Head, You Don't Miss a Thing, No Longer Slaves, Home, Nearness. Moving on to March of the Resistance from The Force Awakens, The Fat Rat, The Calling, and The Fat Rat. I Go Loony from the Batman Killing Joke film, Cold from Ruby, and then a classical piece of music called Bercuse le Monde de Gravillon for Unmeasured 74. But yeah, the mixtape is called Hard Times. It's like sometimes in life you have a hard time. There's definitely like a period in my life where it's like I had a really hard time, and so these were the musics that were like comforting music that I would listen to on repeat to just feel some feels or just clear my head. And so this is the music that I listened to during that time period. So
So again, The Fat Rat was probably my favorite song. Not necessarily just because it was one of the more unique songs. It's just legitimately, I just enjoyed that sound.
yeah.
I don't necessarily go out of my way looking for electronic sounding sounds because I usually get my fill of that with K-pop, because there's a lot of those elements in K-pop. But whenever I find a good one, I like it, and I really like that one.
Yeah. So like for how I found this song, it's like I told you that most of the Fat Rat music I listened to was because of like fan made music videos, but this specific song, I went to a little fan music video competition and I saw the results. This was one of the songs that played into one of the entries and it's like, oh, that's nice. And then I found the music video and it's like, oh yeah, that's nice. And then I listened to the song. It's like, ah, yes, pretty good. Like I'd listen to this, I Go Loony and Cold all together, like some nights, like on repeat, those three songs in order to get me to go to sleep or something. I actually think I Go Loony went before this song, but I didn't have time to fix this.
So what is it about I Go Loony for you?
It's I mean
it's the Joker singing, right?
It's the Joker singing. The song came out during that time period, and so it was like, oh boy, I love this actor singing a song. We have never seen this before for the Joker. It's like, I like this. It's pretty cool. And it's like, it's a goofy sounding song with like miserable lyrics. And so I enjoyed that. I actually don't enjoy the way that this song is mixed in the release here on YouTube. It's really weird. The vocals are just, they don't pop out as much as they should. And if you listen to it in the car, like they don't pop out at all. It's just instrumental mostly, which is really weird. Something went off in the mixing portion. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I watched the film when it came out. It's like, yes, the singing portion, that's something. Cold also came out around the time. It was like a tribute song to the creator of Ruby, who had passed away at that time. So I connected to the lyrics of that song as well. So
gotcha.
And then for Bercue Solomon, we did a play, and that was like the song used for the theme of the play. And so in order to get myself into the mood of the show, I would listen to the song on repeat to get my head in the game. And of course, The Force Awakens came out at that time period, and so this is just the song that was a highlight for me at the time. And then Bethel, of course,
right?
Just whatever was there, I just found and listened to.
So, just straight up, like I Go Loony or March of Resistance. I don't have that much of a connection to Joker. I don't have that much connection to Star Wars. So really, they don't necessarily stand out as songs for me or for me to enjoy per se. But they're fine in their own right. I have a question though, kind of based on the Joker thing. We might have talked about this before. I don't remember. It's been a while. What's your thoughts on the next Joker movie?
I'm intrigued by it. It's a musical. And so I think when most people think musical, they're thinking like Broadway musical with all of these random dance numbers. But I think that what they're doing is more like very early musical, where it's more like tap dancing or dancing music, not like what we have where the music is telling a story. It's more like we're having a song and having this moment while dancing, which I think really fits what they've set up here and should be very interesting to see.
Gotcha.
So, yeah.
So you touched on Ruby earlier.
Yes. Cold.
I will say, I think that's her best song vocally. Again, like I don't remember each and every single song that I listened to prior. I feel like a lot of songs that I heard before, she was pushing her voice to areas where I don't feel like she's comfortable with or sounds good in. But personally, I felt like Cold was the best I've heard her, and so it made me like the song because I actually thought she sounded good in it. I felt like she sounded comfortable. I still don't think she's a singer I particularly like in terms of sound and timbre, per se, but I thought that was the best she ever sounded, and so I was happy to hear that.
Nice.
Yeah, the classical song. I mean, I like classical music.
Sure.
But yeah, obviously it means a little more something to you because of something that went along with your life, and I like it. I mean, more than a few other songs on this list, but not necessarily like I love it.
Yeah.
All right, with the Bethel songs, I have been familiar with "No Longer Slaves."
Right. Yeah.
Both this version from Bethel and just various covers or performances from what name church, you know?
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, I've never had too much issue with the song. I've enjoyed it in its own right. I've never been. I think it was like one of the songs I almost heard about more than heard, and by the time I heard it enough, I'm like, okay, I guess I know what it is. So that was a little bit of like interesting mental process there. But so yeah, No Longer Slaves is fine. I think the song that I enjoyed the most, specifically of the four that I've not known, was "You Don't Miss a Thing." I don't know why. I think it might have been just the melody. I didn't necessarily take time to like observe lyrics or anything, so I don't necessarily have like thoughts on those per se. But I think I just really enjoyed the melody of "You Don't Miss a Thing." Just whatever it was, I just enjoyed it. So,
off the top of my head, I don't quite remember what makes these songs different from each other. I think the one that sticks out to me the most is "In Over My Head" because it was at the top of my list. I'd always listen to it first. No Longer Slaves, of course. My church at one point would play this song a lot, and like, I hate it when they do that because it kind of ruins the song for me.
yeah.
But yeah, no.
I was just listening to Nearness in the background, and like that's just a nice, beautiful, peaceful song. So like definitely, I think one thing I appreciate about this smattering of songs, I think sometimes I get tired by a generic worship sound where it's just a weird kind of hype song where it's not like obviously. So like I listen to K-pop, I listen to metal, so those are very amped up genres of music that worship never necessarily hits to that like sonic kind of energy. So sometimes I get a little tired of like hearing those kind of songs. Maybe like for example, like kind of more like the ending of No Longer Slaves, where it's like just like big and swelling or whatever. And so like these other songs that are kind of a little more like low key, just like sitting where they belong, kind of thing. Like they're just nice and beautiful to listen to.
That's what I liked about them. In general, it's like, oh, they're not like your typical songs. These are like these low level songs that I would listen to them a lot when around this time I was taking a Photoshop class. And so while I was working on the Photoshop, I just listened to these songs like over and over again. Because like they're calming, I could work on something on homework and just listen to this peaceful piece of music. So yeah.
I have home playing in the background right now, and yeah, it just sounds great. I think possibly my least favorite might have been In Over My Head.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know. It just didn't hit the spot like the other songs necessarily did, I guess. But also, I think it's one of those songs where if I could, I would kind of like want to like see what's saying more lyrically and see how I really feel about it.
Sure.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think just in general, I tend to be like a little on edge with worship music a little bit because there has just been some controversy about it, and so sometimes like I get wary with worship music. So that might have been my issue with In Over My Head. I don't remember really, but again, like I didn't really take time to really check out the lyrics, so I could just be just saying crap right now. I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, just they are beautiful songs. I will say, No Longer Slaves. It does crack me up whenever the female vocalist randomly yells "Full of faith." That it makes me laugh.
Sure.
It's made me laugh before, and it made me laugh this time. So
Mhm.
I don't know. Like I guess she was in the moment. That's fine, but it
Yeah.
makes me laugh. Yeah. So I enjoyed this. And I also think like a little bit of variety also was fun. I'm not saying you have to do that, but
No, like this one is definitely like one of the more variety pieces that you can have because instead of being like a specific genre or specific artist, like these are just random bits of songs that just were meant something to me at a period of time.
yeah. I think a few of these songs I will be adding to my playlist. Just like they're just like nice enough where I'm just like I like these. I'm gonna add these to my playlist. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Specifically the fat rap, but I'll maybe the classical piece, maybe a Bethel song. Yeah.
it's a win for the fat rat. Nice. All right.
All right. So what's your next mix for
My
me?
my next mixtape is my anime mixtape,
Hmm.
which I'm excited for. This one's been a long time coming. I made this like how long ago? I don't
Hmm.
know. This is like this has been an ever evolving door of like songs coming and going, figuring out what works and just because like there's some animes where like I love all of the music and
Hmm.
it's like man I can't put every single song on this mixtape from that
Right.
one show. Like I wanted to give like a more diverse sound or just different shows, give them a chance. And so
Hmm.
here are the songs I have here. Tank from Cowboy Bebop. Um, Strix from Spy X Family. That's a newer one. Zero from Code Geass. Nightmare from Code Geass. Strong and Strike from Naruto. Small Heaven from Toradora. The title on this one is I can't read that language, but on Google Translate it's Takamine flowers blooming in the seat next to me. This is from Komi Can't Communicate. Hum of the Streets from Full Metal Alchemist. This is the show that I was talking about where I was like, oh, I love all the music from it. Scenery of Luna Nova from Little Witch Academia. A Simple Mission from Violet's Evergarden. Envy Revealed from Full Metal Alchemist, and Anxiety and Determination from Little Witch Academia. So these are these songs, and yeah, hopefully you
Cool.
enjoy at least a couple of them.
Yeah. I'm looking at my next list, and um, four of the songs are K-pop songs. So I know that's not a lot of variety in that sense, but I hope you enjoy. And the other song is another Invent Animate song. As in March, they actually dropped the album, so I was forced to choose one song from the album. And I am pleased to report that the song has some clean singing in it, so it's not just harshes. So hopefully that will
Nice.
be of a little more rest to your ears. But I might do what I did last time, and I might throw in an extra song from the Invent Animate album. Um, I think all but one song has a mixture of either just harsh or harsh and cleans. But there's one song that's very low key and only has cleans, and very minimal instrumental. And you might like it, you might not. I don't know. I'll just throw it at you and get your opinion, kind of thing.
Okay.
Also, for funsies, we're in September right now, and Van Ame just dropped another song, which
Okay.
also is mostly all clean vocals. It's a beautiful song, and I'm excited for you to hear it. I was thinking about sending it to you now, but it's most likely going to make it to my September list. And so whenever we get there, I will get your thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're getting towards the end of like my mixtapes. There's only a few left, so that's.
Are you going to continue, or are you going to stop, or just going
I
to throw a
think
song or two
I
at me?
think like I'm ready to like let these be the end of it
Okay.
because we've gone through like the main ones
Yeah.
that are like these are the ideas that I liked, and so yeah, I'm excited for these next few.
Do you want me to stop sending you tapes?
I mean, we'll talk about it when the time gets there, I'm sure.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, it's exciting. We're getting towards the nitty gritty. The ones,
AKA a lot of anime?
the more recent ones, I should say, that I
Okay,
made versus the ones
gotcha.
I made years ago
Yeah, that's
that we've
fair.
been catching up on. So yes, very
Yeah.
very exciting. Anything else we have to talk about?
I personally can't think of anything. I'm good if you are.
Yes, I believe I'm good as well.
Okay.
In that case, thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all next time. Bye.
Goodbye.